My name is Val Schweisberger, and I am a senior user researcher here at SoundHound. I think there's a common misconception about research, or user research particularly, where it's just people testing design. There are a lot more places where you could use insight into what a user is thinking before you go down a certain path so you don't waste any time. Maybe exploring an idea that may or may not be interesting to users. That is all very useful stuff that a user researcher can help you with before you get to the part of designing. Let's say you have a great product and you're excited to release it. So you do, your user researcher can also come in and survey people after the fact. Is it good? Is it working for you? Is there anything wrong with it? Is there anything you can do to improve about it? Standard usability testing is just giving people 2 or 3 of your core tasks with the build and seeing if they can do it, just without any interference from a researcher, without any guidance. And then afterwards, we would ask them, how easy or difficult was that? How could it be improved? Was anything confusing or unclear? Another way I would say is to rely on remote user testing. And this is where that company user testing comes in, right? They're this amazing service that lets you launch tests to a huge, huge panel of users anywhere in the country and certain parts of the world. It offers insights into things that usually take a much longer time. There's also qualitative research. It takes longer to collect the data. It takes longer to analyze the data. You're really getting an in-depth understanding of something rather than just a broad understanding from a lot of people about a couple of things. You're going really, really in depth to understand a reaction, a motivation. About every company I've worked at has a different testing process, but the one thing that never changes across any of them is communication with the stakeholders regularly. I've seen a lot of work be wasted without communicating with the stakeholders appropriately, not getting their needs met. It may seem like you're annoying them with your over-communication, but I swear it's so much better to do that than to waste your time with a test. It's just like in relationships. You can't get around it. You've got to do it. It's all about communication. You need to be an evangelist, reminding very technically minded people that we've got to get this in front of regular users, or you won't know how this is going to be received by a general population. Maybe you have a question that you need answered. You can throw it on user testing, get feedback in like half an hour, and then take that into your meeting and say, hey, we put this in front of users. They gave us this feedback, and for X, Y, and Z reasons, I think we should go forward with it. So it's incredibly powerful. The first one is asking what a user's response is to something and not asking why. You always have to probe. The reasoning is always infinitely more important than just understanding what the preferences are, what people are doing. Over-explaining the tech to your testers without just letting them do it, that's another trap you fall into. You tell them a little bit too much about how the prototype works without waiting for them to understand it themselves. And if they can't, maybe that's a bad design. I've had to go as far as enlisting blind or visually impaired users because it was an accessibility challenge and didn't feel that blindfolding was getting the job done. There are special considerations, especially because voice products are used in a lot of ways to help legally blind or vision impaired people. You do have to go to the extra mile sometimes, but it's worth it because you will build a product that is actually useful to people. So much so that they have cried because the products we make are so useful for them. Go the extra mile. Get the population you need, blindfold them if you absolutely don't have another option, but it's very worthwhile to go get the population that you're trying to build for.